Hey, I'm Stephen Ewashkiw from Adventure Yoga. Thanks for joining me today for this yoga for lower backs and hips release class. It's about 23 minutes long, and we're going to work to help you find a little release in your lower back and your hips. Stretch it out, strengthen it, and get you moving a little bit more freely through the rest of your day. If you've got a yoga mat, unroll it, and I'll meet you in a seated position in just a few seconds. Namaste. Please come into child's pose. Balasana. Take your knees wide, place your feet flat, and sit back on your heels. If you can't sit on your heels, totally fine. You can keep your butt lifted off your heels, or you can grab a yoga blanket and roll it up, or any blanket. Shove it in the back of your knees and sit on that. It'll most likely prevent your butt from coming out of your heels anyway, but it can help you find a little more release here. Fold forward and bring your forehead to the ground and come to your breath. What does that mean? It means start to focus on your breath. It means come here to your practice. Release your day. Release the work you've been doing. Release your worries. Be here. Come up to your hands and knees. All fours. Have your knees just a little bit closer together than in child's pose. And bring your shoulders over your wrists. Round your back. Stretch your spine. Cat pose. Stay here. Really stretch your spine. Tuck your butt underneath you. Tighten up your butt. And let's move into the opposite. Cow pose. Move your hips back and up. Lift your chest forward and up. Move your shoulders away from your ear. Find more length for the front of your body. And then move through those two poses with your breath. Cat pose and cow pose. And you can move at the speed that's appropriate for you. And you don't have to keep it fully linear. You can also get a little hip sway added into it, a little shoulder shimmy, whatever feels right for you. Just get a little movement for your lower back and into your hips. We're going to do a lot of focus on your glutes today. It's a source, a lot of tightness that can lead to tight hips or lower back. And then come to neutral. This next pose is called Gomukasana or cow face pose. Bring your left knee to the middle of your mat. Take your right knee and push in behind your left knee. And then move your feet away from each other. And then walk your hands back, walk your hips back, and sit down. Work to not sit on the foot on the left side of your body, which is your right foot, but sit on the ground between your feet. Your left hip is probably off the ground a little bit, totally fine. If your left hip is way up off the ground, you can grab that blanket if you are using it and stick it under your right hip to find a little more balance in your hips. Otherwise, sit up tall. Stretch your right arm out. Bend your right elbow, place your hand behind your back, and lift through your head. Take your left arm and reach back. Bend your elbow. If you can clasp your hands here, do. But if you can't, just hold your shirt. Pull on your shirt with your hands, or tighten up the grip with your hands. And lift up through your chest, lift up through your right arm, right elbow, and push down through your feet. Imagine that you're sticking your butt back behind you a little more, and that's just going to give you a little more stretch into some of those glute muscles, or you might know them as your butt muscles. And then release your hands, walk your hands forward, lift your hips, bring your knees to the ground, and change sides. Now, I'm going to turn around. You definitely don't have to. I'm just doing that so you get a different angle in the camera. So this time it's your right knee to the middle of your mat, and take your left knee back behind your right knee. Move your feet away from each other, walk your hands back, and sit down between your feet. Here, your right hip might be really lifted. If it is, it's a little counterintuitive. I want you to put the prop under your left hip, so the one that's on the ground, so that you lift it up, and then you get a little more balance in your hips. You can use a folded up blanket, you can use a yoga block or a thick book, or sit. Stretch your left arm up and bend your elbow. Push your head back to lift your chest up a little, and then take your right arm back behind you. Bend your elbow. And again, here, if you can clasp your hands, do. But if you can't, you're still a great person. Hold your shirt. When we're tight in one part of our body, it often leads to us staying tight in other parts of our body. So if you've got tight hips or tight lower back, and you've got pain in those areas, you might also have tight shoulders. You might not. But if you've got tight shoulders, it's hard to get the clasp here. Release your hands, walk your hands forward, come up onto your knees, untuck your left leg from behind your right, and I'm going to turn around again. You can just stay where you are. Come into plank pose. So bring your shoulders over your wrists, straighten your right leg back, tuck your toes, straighten your left leg back and tuck your toes. But we're going to come out of this pretty quickly. Bend your knees a little, not to the ground. Bend your knees a little, and then lift your butt up. Coming into a bent knee, downward facing dog. Push your hands down and forward. Bring your ears in between your arms. Lift your butt up. Stick your butt up like you're trying to touch your butt up to the ceiling. Great. And come back into plank pose. So shift forward, straighten your arms, straighten your legs. If this is too much here, bring your knees to the ground, and that will help make it a little more accessible. But we're not going to stay here very long because I know how challenging it is. We're going to come down to our forearms. So again, to get there, you might want to bring your knees to the ground. Bring your right forearm down to the ground. Bring your left forearm down to the ground. Forearm plank, but again, we're not going to stay here for very long. Bring your belly down to the ground. Bring your hips down to the ground. And untuck your toes, because having your toes stuck there can be really challenging on your lower back. Without moving your forearms, pull back a little so that you can lift your chest a little. Push your toes down. Tighten up your butt and push it down to lift up a little more. And then we're going to do a little push me, pull you, except you're going to do it all to yourself. Push forward with your forearms so your belly moves back and your lower back starts to round a little. So that's what happens when you do that gentle push forward. See what happens when you do a gentle pull back. Pull back and your hips will push down, your belly will move forward, and your chest will lift up. Spread your toes and do that a couple times. Push forward, not to move your arms, but to see how that affects what's happening in the rest of your body. Round your lower back a little. Pull back with your forearms to lift through your chest. So it's sort of like a little cat-cow here. Do one more of each of those. And then stay in Sphinx pose. That's what this forearm back bend is called. Pull back a little, lift your chest up, and look forward. And then come down onto your belly. Come all the way down. Bring your chin to the ground. Stretch your arms back at your sides. Bring your legs together. Squeeze your legs in. Squeeze your inner thighs in. Keep your feet down. Lift your head and chest. Lift your hands up. Push down with your legs. Lift up a little. Then come down. We'll do that twice more. We'll do it a little more fluidly. So squeeze your legs in. Squeeze your thighs in. Lift your head. Lift your hands. And come down. One more of those. Squeeze your legs in. Squeeze your thighs in. Push down through your hips. Lift up. Push down through your feet. Lift your hands. And come down. Place your hands beside your chest. Tuck your toes under. We're going to come up into down dog through all fours. So push down, lift your chest, come up to all fours, lift your knees, keep your knees bent, move your chest back, stick your butt up. Imagine that you can breathe into your lower back and create a little more space into your lower back here. You breathe. And then walk forward and come to a forward fold. Uttanasana. So have your feet about hip distance apart. Bend your knees so that you can touch the ground. And then relax your head. Relax your neck. Push down through your feet. Bend your knees so much that you can rest your chest on your legs. And then move your chest back onto your legs so it's a little more active. And again, imagine that you can breathe into the space in your lower back, into your kidney area. And take some nice, full, deep breaths into that area. And then push through your hands. Keep your knees bent, but straighten your arms and lift your chest. Keep touching the ground. Half forward fold. Lengthen through your spine. Remember that work in forearm back bend where we did the little cat-cow by pushing and pulling? Here, pull back with your hands to get a little more lift into your chest. And then come into the forward fold again by pushing forward with your hands and folding over your legs again. Pull back with your hands, straighten your arms to lift and lengthen through your chest. Push down and forward with your hands to come back into the forward fold. Do that once more. Pull back, lift up. Push forward, fold forward. Bend your knees even more, walk your hands back, and sit down. That's a nice one, right? Sit down. Stretch your legs straight out in front of you. And then bend your knees a little. Take your hands behind your legs, pull back a little, and lengthen through your spine. This is it. It's a modified staff pose or Dandasana. Keep holding your right leg and let go of your left leg and straighten it. And then take your right leg, bend your knee in, cross your foot over your left leg. Take your right hand back behind you, lean back a little, and take your left elbow onto your right leg and do a gentle twist to the right. Then push down with your left arm, push down with your right hand, and lift up and lengthen through your spine, and do a little more twist. And then untwist. Step your right leg up and over, stretch it out, bend your left leg. Take your left foot over your right leg. Take your left hand back behind you, lean back a little, and take your right arm onto your left leg. Do a gentle twist. Push down through your arms and lift up through your spine and twist a little more. When we're dealing with
looking for some release in our hips and our spine, we don't want to overdo the twists. We want to make them a releasing twist, or giving us a feeling of relief, not strain or stress, really. So sit up and come back to center. So we'll do another twist before we're done, but remember that we want to keep it a nice soft twist, a nice freeing twist. But before that, we have a couple more things. Move your hips forward a little. Place your left foot flat. Grab your right knee and grab your right foot. And then turn your right leg out so you can bring your right shin up above your left knee. Then walk your hands behind you. Press your hands into the ground. Push your left foot down. Engage your right ankle so it's at a right angle. And then push your shin onto your left leg so you can move your right knee away from you. And then this next one's fun. Move your hips forward. So to do that, walk your hands in a little, push down, lift your butt up, move your hips forward. Walk your hands closer to your butt again. Move your right knee away from your right shoulder and stretch up through your spine. Keep engaging your right ankle so it's at a right angle, roughly. Keep moving your right knee away from you so you get that feeling in your outer right hip. Then move your hips back, walk your hands back, and bring your right foot down to the ground. This is a variation of a pose we call baby cradle. There's a huge, fun Hindu story there. Don't worry about that today. Move your hips back a little more so that you can actually bring your hands off the ground. Grab your left knee, pick your left foot up, and then grab your left foot with your right hand and turn your left leg out and bring your left shin up onto your right knee. And then bring your hands to the ground again behind you and engage your left ankle, push your left knee away from you. This is a lot of hip opening. It's a good one. I love this. It's intense, but this intensity is good intensity, I find. Push your hands down, push your right foot down, and then lift your butt up, move your hips forward. Walk your hands in and stretch up through your spine. Keep moving your left knee away from your left shoulder. Lift through your chest to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm feeling that enough, Stephen. Feel it enough. That's what's important. Keep your left ankle engaged. Roughly a 90-degree flexion at your right ankle. You try saying angle and ankle in the same sentence. It is tough. Push your left knee away from you. Stretch up through your spine. Then move your butt back. Walk your hands back. And bring your left foot down to the ground. Now we're going to do that same work lying down. So lie down on your back and take your right ankle above your left knee. Engage your right ankle to that 90-degree angle, and then lift your left knee up. Take your right arm, feed it in between your legs, and grab the front of your left shin. Then take your left hand around, interlace your fingers on your left shin. Pull your left knee in towards your chest and move your right knee away from your right shoulder. Pull your left knee in a little more. Move your right knee away from you a little more. Instead of letting your back round a lot here, work to move your tailbone forward and down to the ground. Work to create a little arch in your lower back. It doesn't mean your lower back has to come off the ground, but work to strengthen the muscles in your lower back. That's going to help you let go of some of your lower back pain. And then release your hands, bring your left foot down, bring your right foot down. Other side, bring your left knee up, bring your left shin onto your right thigh. Do that engagement of your left ankle, move your left knee away from you. pick your right knee up, take your left hand between your legs, right hand around your right leg, and hold your right shin. Pull your right knee in towards your chest. Move your left knee away from your left shoulder. So this version of Untitled or baby cradle pose starts to become eye of the needle pose. Pull your right knee in towards your chest a little more. You're in charge of where you go with this. Move your left knee away from your left shoulder. And then think about your lower back. I'm thinking about mine and I'm noticing how much it's rounding. Move your, that's fine that it's doing that, but I want to add the work to your lower back here. So move your tailbone forward and work to bring your tailbone down to the ground so you can start to add a little engagement of your lower back, a little strengthening work for your lower back. Our lower backs are notoriously mobile and notoriously weak. So when we can find the time to put a little work into strengthening our lower back, that's a good thing. That forearm back bend that we did, I called it Sphinx pose. That's a really good pose for finding a little more strength in your back as well. And release your right leg, bring your right foot to the ground, bring your left foot to the ground. We're going to use that same shape to give us one more twist. Bring your right shin onto your left knee. Bring your arms out into cactus pose. So elbows bent, palms up. And then you're going to turn your hips and your legs over to the left. Look to the right and turn your hips over to the left so that your right foot comes to the ground. Move your right knee away from your shoulders. So move it towards the top of your mat. And slow your breath down. Push down through your right arm. Push down through your left arm. Push down through your left foot. And come back up. Use your right leg to help pull your left leg up. And then change sides. Bring your right foot down. Bring your left shin onto your right knee. Move your left knee away from you. Look to the left. And turn to the right. Bring your left foot to the ground. Move your left knee away from you, towards the top of your mat. Push down through your left shoulder. Push down through your right shoulder. Push down through your right foot. And use your left leg. Push it into your right leg and use that to help pick your right leg up. Bring your left foot down. Stretch your legs out. Bring your arms to your sides. Turn your palms up. And here, just turn your legs in and out a little bit. Wiggle your hips, your lower back. Give a little release, a little shake it out. And then bend your knees. Turn to your side. And sit up. I hope you find that when you get up and go about the rest of your day, that you have found a little release for your hips and your lower back, and that you find a little more freedom in your day. Thanks for practicing. Let me know if you've got any questions, and if you're looking to do a full class with me in the future, there's a full class of mine that I think will help you continue this work of finding more freedom. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, you can just click on my picture over there to subscribe. Thanks, OMies. See you soon.